Okay.
Mhm.
You'll take some time to like be really live.
Yeah, I know. I think there was about a minute or so, right?
Probably. Yeah, it depends. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's live now. Give me a minute. Let me just paste it inside the. Okay.
Maybe it'd be good. I put on a mic.
Yeah, sure,
Just give me 1 sec. Let me go and get it.
sure. Okay. Hello, parents who are already here with us. Just give us 1 minute, yeah, for the setup to be done.
Okay.
Okay, Can
Can you hear me, right?
yes, can hear. Should we start?
Sure.
Okay, hello parents. Thanks so much for being here. And this is John from Learning Out of the Box. And thanks so much for joining us in this evening. And today I have the honor of having Mr. Jaya, and he's here to share with us on memory techniques. Hello, Mr. Jaya. Thanks for being here.
Hi, John. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Yeah, actually, I met you last year, and you came and helped us out and supported us in one of our events for our parents. And I remember you taught the parents on some very easy to use memory techniques. Yeah, so I was blown away.
That was before the pandemic, actually.
Oh yeah. That's why I think in January.
Yeah, it was it 2019?
No, it was last year.
It was last year, beginning, yeah? Okay, right.
Yeah. Then what really amazed me is you started to speak in Cantonese.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Later, I don't want to spill the beans. Yeah. So later you can probably share with us how did you manage to speak another and the dialect. Yeah, which is, so in my opinion, is much better than some of my friends who are native speakers.
Right, I know.
Okay, so Mr. Jaya, before we start, I think some parents probably might have seen you for the first time. Would you be able to share with us like your backstory, how you started training your audience in having such powerful memory techniques?
Thanks for the question, John. Actually, it's really started way back when I was in college. You see, I was studying accounting, and accounting law is a paper. And those of you who know about law, there's a lot of memory work. And my lecturer wasn't helping me much. He was one of those very boring lecturers you find in college. And I was thinking, how am I going to ever pass this subject? Because there's so much of things to regurgitate, to put into a brain, to take it out in an exam, especially things like sections, subsections, statutes, and all that. And luckily, sometimes I felt my prayers were answered. I found a book called the Memory Book in my college library. I thought, wow, these white people, they write books for everything, even memory. So I took that book and I read it, and it outlined a few memory techniques which I took and I applied, and surprisingly, my law grades improved.
Oh,
So I was hooked, if you want to say that. And I thought, hey, since this work, when I left college, I went into tuition center. I started my own tuition center, just like you, John. But I was teaching maths and English. And you know what I did was I thought, why don't I just teach my students these techniques I learned and helped me in my college days? And these students came back and they said, sir, it really helped me as well. But I never thought, John, that I'd be teaching anyone outside of my tuition center. But as fate would have it, in 1996, 20 over years ago, someone invited me to share these techniques because they somehow heard about this, that I was teaching memory techniques to my students. And they said, would you come and speak to our college students and just share your knowledge? Actually, I turned them down. I said, no, I can't. I don't think I have the guts. I'm such a shy person. I
Really,
don't
you're a
think
shy person. Oh my, I can't imagine.
at that time I was. That was 20 over years back. But they said, no, 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 you have to come. And then we don't have PowerPoint, you know. If you know what's OHP, the overhead projector. So, and I ended up giving for 1 hour presentation. And the lecturers came and said, wow, those techniques you shared really make sense, you know. I think it can help our students. Then I got invitations from few schools in Perak, because I'm from Perak. And they keep on inviting. And someone said, how much do you pay you? I said, no, no, nothing. I just do for free. They said, no, no, take 50 ringgit as a token. And that started my journey that has taken me to 9 countries now and spoken to about 78,000 people sharing this. So it's like, it's very fulfilling, like John, you know, that's what so I keep doing it. And I'm so happy to have met you in the journey as well.
Thanks. Yeah, and I think some of the parents who have heard who have caught your words ringgit. Yeah. So parents, I have the privilege of meeting Mr. Jaya. And in fact, I think and my good friend Henry actually invited you over from Malaysia.
Yes, 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 he did. Yeah, it's true. It's through Henry that I met you, right? Yeah, I'm from Malaysia. For those of you who are not sure, from Singapore, yeah, I'm from Malaysia. I'm originally from a place called Ipoh,
Wow.
small town more north of KL, 200 km away. And yeah, and so we have done a few programs in Singapore so far. In fact, I started doing programs in Singapore about 15 years ago, before I even met Henry. In fact, we even had a company, but right now I'm just working with Henry and of course people like yourself, John. So thanks for having me here.
Great. Yeah. Parents, and the reason why I invited Mr. Jaya here is because, in fact, I'm also in his Facebook group, and I'm very amazed and inspired by the multiple mind maps that he had shown in his sharing. Yeah, I think that to some of us, probably to do mind maps could be just getting the colors and then just drawing out and matching a picture to the notes. Yeah. So, in your opinion, what are some of the powerful tools of a mind map, and how can Singapore parents, Singapore parents we want our children to do well in primary school. So how can they apply these techniques, especially the school holidays is coming soon?
Oh yeah, that's a very good thing, because actually, interestingly, the reason I even ended up being a speaker was for two things. One is memory and one is mind mapping. And I have been using mind map for a very, very long time. So I believe many of you parents would probably also would be familiar with what is a mind map. A mind map has been called the Swiss Army knife of the brain because it is so flexible. It's a tool that can be used for adults, for brainstorming, for generating ideas, for you to plan your time, to plan a presentation. You can do a lot of things with that. But for students, it can also be used to make notes as a revision tool, and even to brainstorm ideas when they're when they write their essay in exams. Because if you ask a child, what is the most difficult part of the essay? They'll probably tell you, oh, it's the starting. I just don't know how to start. And second thing, they will say, I don't know how to organize my points. So what most students do is they just take the question and just start writing. And then when the exam is over, they say, oh yeah, I missed this point, or I put that point in the wrong place. So you cannot do anything. The paper is already passed up. So it can be used while studying, while preparing for exams, and also it can be used in exams as well. In fact, if I may say, I have one student in Malaysia who attended my course, and within 6 months, his grades went from like 60 to like 95, and he became top in his class. And he cut his revision. Most importantly, he cut his revision, would you believe it, from 3 hours per day to 20 minutes per day. I don't know whether John, you saw this video. It's on YouTube, by the way. And he became not even number one. He won a scholarship to study in Australia as well. So that is how powerful like these techniques of memory and mind mapping can be. See if I can also share one or two mind maps.
Yes, please. Yep.
Let me just give me a sec.
Yeah. So parents, now we have Mr. Jaya from Malaysia, and he's the expert in helping students to cut short their learning process. And you have heard it from 3 hours to 20 minutes. And it is something that I would love to know as well, because I think being a busy parent who still choose to teach our children at home, we are so time tight, right? Yeah. So if you know of anyone who can benefit from this sharing, do feel free to click on the share button and share on your wall so that more parents like you can benefit as well.
Okay, I've got my slides. Let me see if I can share this.
Yes, you are co-host, so you can share.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
Yeah. If you awesome. Yeah. And I'd love to also later you can share with us the video of your students who managed
I'll be happy to.
Yeah.
So this is how typically we normally do, right? This is how we take notes, right? Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. But is this the most effective? Not really, because if I had to show you a piece of paper, let's say an A4 paper, and said, can you try to imagine a picture of an apple on this piece of paper? Very likely your brain is going to see it in the center of the paper. So when you look at a mind map is starting from the center, right? And a mind map can be used for all these things, like for memory, for creativity, for comprehension, concentration, organization. This is how flexible it is. And normally we write notes this way.
Wow.
But if you notice, a mind map can help you to plan, present, you can take notes, you can make better decisions, and of course for students to learn more effectively. And this is the simple way to do a mind map. These are the simple rules. First, you put three colors in the center, and then you add 3 branches for the main topics, and then you put keywords on the line. Of course, it's optional. Personally, I follow capital because I'm one of those licensed trainers under Tony Buzan. You know, Tony Buzan is the inventor of mind map. So he suggested using capital for a simple reason. It's neater and you would not get confused reading it later on. I'm sure many of us would have this experience when you scribble something, you come back and you know what you have written yourself. So that's why. Another thing is connect all the lines. Don't have lines like floating around. Use colors. But using colors, you've got to be very careful. Use it in a very organized way, meaning if you start one branch in green, then the whole section is green. If it's red, then the whole section is red. So that you will know, your brain will know, okay, let's say, for example, if I'm doing on, let's say, energy, and maybe this one in solar energy in red. So that means everything that comes after that is all about solar energy. Maybe one could be kinesthetic energy. So everything kinetic energy will be on the green, for example, And this is another thing very good about mind maps, why it is effective, because, our brains like to think in pictures. If I were to say tiger, you're definitely not going to see the word TIGER in your brain. A picture of a striped animal is going to come as an image, in your imagination. And that's why when you use symbols and pictures, your brain tends to like it, and we learn and remember better. Okay, this in a nutshell. Of course, a lot more things than this, but just very quickly. And this is a mind map on how to mind map.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah, if you see the paper, we normally put in landscape. I think most of us know this. And always make sure you use blank paper. Don't use papers with lines. You start in the center. The lines that you come are always connected. And if you see that center lines are thicker, right, to show that these are main subtopics, and all lines are connected so that they structure and make the lines organic. Organic means we curve the lines, don't make them straight. I'm sure, John, you know about the left brain, right brain theory, right? The left brain is supposed to be very organized. It's very logical, step by step. It may like the straight lines, but the right brain, which is the fun brain, some people call it that, it doesn't like straight things. It likes things natural. So curved lines looks more natural. And make sure the length of your line equals the length of your word or the image. And always use keywords only. And if you look at any text, if you take a textbook, a science textbooks or a history textbook, maybe about 10% of the words could be keywords. The rest will be grammatizing words like is, the, in, if, as a result of, all those words. So you can throw those away. And you can change the size. Like if you can see the Z is bigger, and use images throughout. Use colors, and the structure of your mind map is similar to the structure of a brain cell or a neuron. That's why we say a mind map is brain-friendly nodes. Let me show you a sample of a mind map. And these are some of the symbols you can use, simple. Some people say, oh, I don't know how to draw. You don't have to be Leonardo da Vinci to do mind maps. Okay, and this is a simple exercise you give, but use keywords, use colors. This is a simple step by step. You start like this. Then maybe you have a branch with all the text. You have add one more, and the eventual mind map will look like that. So simple. So of course, for adults, you can use the marketing plan and so many things. So this is basically, and today there's so much resources. You just go and look up in the net, you can see. And there's so many free softwares as well. Okay.
When you say free software, do you have any recommendation?
You could look at MindMaster, for example. MindMaster, M-A-S, Mind, and M-I-Z-N, MindMaster is one. And there are quite a few others as well. You just go and look for free software there. Of course, even the Tony Buzan, there's one more now called AYOA, AYOA. That is from the former partner of Tony Buzan. His name is Chris Griffiths. He started his own company. So it's okay. So basically that's it. So So this is an example of a mind map. How, let's say if you want to do a mind map of a person, like let's say, okay, let's say a mind map of myself. Let's say I put in my hobby, for example. So if I use blue, the whole section is blue. Let's say you say my hobby is swim. When do you swim? I swim on Sundays. Another hobby, let's say, is playing football. When do you play football? In the morning. Another one could be on talk about family. This could be my wife when you unmarried. They say my mom, she's a very good cook. And who are your siblings? What is your future job you want to be? And so on and so forth. This is a mind map which I did for a spectacle company called Focus Point. I don't know whether you have it in Singapore. Is there Focus Point?
Not very sure.
Which I did myself, part of their CSR project. Okay, if you can see how I did that. So this is another one also for Focus Point, but this was on eye care. It's called Mind Your Own Vision. So these are some examples of how mind maps can be extremely useful. So this basically.
I would like to bring you back to the part that you mentioned about the software, because I understand that because when I was younger, I also find that to memorize those black text on white paper is very boring. So I love mind maps as well. And I heard that you mentioned using softwares, because I understand that the process of doing the mind map using the hand also helps in the learning as well. So what is your view on using softwares to do versus using our hands to draw on a physical paper? Which is better?
Okay, there is no such thing as better. This is exactly the same debate that we had when I went for my certification in 2012 in Bangkok. And there were 35 of us who were going to get our license, okay, to become licensed instructors. And, I have never used the software until that point in time. At that time, and by the way, in 2012, the software was not that, I would say, not very advanced. So a lot of features were missing, and it didn't look nice. You cannot add pictures and all of that. So obviously I didn't like it. And the best part is I got onto the site, you cannot choose sites. They chose me onto the site of, I'm supposed to favor the software, which I don't favor actually at the time. So I asked my instructor, can I go to the other side? He said, no. So I was stuck. So I had to really crack my head now, what can be better? And I did come up with certain things. Like firstly, I said the software you can share with anybody, anywhere in the world, because it is what do you call it? Internet. I mean, it can be sent over the internet, right? So, and also another thing is, if you're working as a team for adults, it's good. Let's say you're working on a project, John, and let's say it's one of us in Hong Kong, one in UK, one in US, and we are working on as a team on a project. That would be very, very good. And you can add into the mind map, so it can keep on growing. And there is no limit to how big it can grow, because the size of, there's no size, right? I mean, but a paper is, if I put A4, that's the limit. So there are limitations. Today's software is almost as good as by hand drawing. It's curved, you can add images, you can have moving pictures, you can do a lot of things. So it's still a personal preference. But personally, I find doing mind maps by hand is more emotional, because when you draw your own pictures, even it's a symbol, it's meaningful to you. So I find it personally. I almost every day I draw a mind map, almost every day. I
Wow.
still, yeah. There are days if you see
You
my notes, you see my notes, or you see anything, you cannot see a notes which I didn't do a mind map in. So it's very useful. So to answer your question, my personal preference is to use hand drawing, and because I always carry color pens. If you see my bag, I think even see right now. Okay, I have this. You see this
okay, hold on.
multicolor. I have this multicolor pen.
Mm-hmm.
I always have this, and I have other color pens in my bag every time wherever I travel. Like for example, this is purple. It's not blue. It's purple.
Mm-hmm.
For me to make sure that when I do a mind map, is full of color.
Do you have
yeah.
any sample mind map that you drew today or yesterday? If it's okay to share.
Oh, today I'm actually traveling. I'm not at home. I'm actually on holiday today.
Really? Where can I ask where are you now? Because I'm super envious.
I'm in a place called Lumut. I don't know whether you know Lumut. Lumut is by the sea. We are in one of the resorts here. This is not my house. I'm in a resort right now.
In Malaysia.
Ah,
wow! Can you bring me there?
sure you come, no problem. Are you
Wow.
familiar? Are you familiar with Pangkor Island?
No, I'm not.
Okay, we are just beside Pangkor Island. We decided not to take the ferry because it takes about half an hour journey. So we on the other side. We are still at the mainland. So we came yesterday. We're going back tomorrow.
Wow. It sounds fun. Okay, so maybe you can change the topic from my map to traveling. Because I think most of us we are so stuck in Singapore that I think whenever we hear someone is overseas, our eyes will like pop up. Okay, maybe we can talk about that later. Yeah.
I have one mind map which I have recently. Because everywhere. Okay, I'll show you one. Okay.
Okay, just give me a minute. Let me do a spotlight for you so that the parents can see.
Can you see this?
Okay. Yeah. I think need to bring closer to your face because the camera actually. This is good. Okay. It's a bit tricky, but we managed to catch a quick glimpse of it.
Is it possible? Is it seen? Is it visible?
It's getting better. It's okay. Now I can see it. Yeah.
Let me see what it's about. This is something I brainstormed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a seminar that I conducted recently. It's called Born to Win. Mm-hmm. So I had you see like this part here. Okay, maybe you can't see clear. This part here says the opening. The opening. Okay, let me just read to you. Why this topic, Born to Win? Because I said we should not fear failure. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we're influenced by doubts that created not by us, by someone else. Mm-hmm. So that was my opening. Mm-hmm. Then I go and explain. Next branch says luck. I explain what is luck. Some people say, "Oh, the guy did well. He must be very lucky." Mm-hmm. I said luck is actually opportunity meeting preparedness. So if you are prepared and opportunity comes, then people will call you lucky. Actually, you're not lucky. In a way, you can say lucky because I was prepared, but the preparation would have taken so many years. People don't see that. So now that's how, what I'm saying is I did a mind map for a 1 hour presentation, and that just helped me to crystallize my thoughts. So, sometimes when I'm doing a presentation, especially if it's a new topic, I might just have the mind map in front. People don't even notice because I just look at the keywords. And it's helped me once in India when I was there at a big function where a lot of celebrities were there. And, even if I'm a speaker, when you meet all the celebrities on the stage, you still get a little bit, shaky. And I was there, and true enough, I was invited. They say, "Oh, we have one of our sponsors here. Can you come and say a few words?" And many famous actors were on the stage, sitting there, and I was supposed to give a speech for about a few minutes, not that long. It was like a Thanksgiving speech. And I went up there and I spoke. And when I came down, my cousin was there. He came up to me and said, "How come, Ajaya?" I said, "How come what? How come you were so smooth? You were like perfect." I said, I pull out a small piece of paper. "This is my secret." He said, "What's that?" "It's called a mind map." He said, "What's that for?" I said, "Before I went on stage, I did it. It's just a small piece of paper, just to speak. And I did a mind map, what I'm going to say and who I'm going to thank and all that. And I went up and they had lectern. So I put the paper on the lectern and I just glanced down. I look at them. They look they see as I'm talking to, I see I'm glancing down and looking at them, just like, because I didn't catch the keywords enough already. So that's how it was so absolutely useful. It's really lifesaver for me so many times. And it's something that I would highly recommend anybody to learn it. It's a skill that would be lifelong. If your child learns it, it will be a lifelong skill. They learn it in school. He will get good grades. The best part is sometimes certain things you learn in school, you cannot apply in real life, isn't it? But this one is not like that. Like sometimes, you learn a mathematical formula like trigonometry. Okay, you have to pass the exam. You need to when you go and let's say you do accountancy or you do some other studies, you won't be using trigonometry in your life, right? Or any other skill. But here, mind map is not like that. It's a lifelong skill. So it's and in fact, many of the things I teach are lifelong, like speed reading and other things that I teach, like memory and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So parents, actually, I think that now you know that Mr. Jaya is not just a coach who teaches mind maps. In fact, my impression of him from last year was I think he's a very mesmerizing motivational speaker. Yeah, because I think that time about 50 parents were in the room, and from the back I was observing the parents, and I think most of them were all glued to you and like hearing what you have to say about helping the children to improve on their maths using mind map. Yeah. So I have a quick question. Because I know that my mind map is something that is of like a memory technique, like a study skill. Yeah, and it is related to drawing. And from my experience, I know that some kids, they like to doodle in class, but a lot of times I feel that these children are misunderstood and the way they doodle is frowned upon as well. So how do you educate an adult, be a teacher or parents, that mind mapping could help children who are showing restlessness in school and also they like to doodle in class?
Okay, what happens is it's all a matter of awareness. If the parent or the teachers, I don't think they would have a problem. Parents might think, what are you trying to do? But the thing is that once we know that the brain, our brain is multifaceted, it's not just words is one way of learning. Yes, of course. But then what a mind map does is it will help you to see the connections between various points. And it actually works in the way our brains actually are structured, because a brain cell, right? You know how it looks like, right? It's got a neuron with a body in the center, and then you've got the branches coming out, and each branch, and by the way, each of your brain cell or my brain cell is got 10 to 20,000 connections, each one brain cell, and we have 100 billion brain cells. Can you imagine the amount of connections it's making? And a mind map is structured just like the way a brain cell works. So it is easier for our brains to make sense of a mind map than to see plain text on a piece of paper. So of course, some people come and tell me, but I don't like to draw, as you said. Some kids might like drawing, but I said, using pictures and colors especially can help. Even if you don't use pictures that many pictures on your mind map, but you have different colors, the colors itself would attract you. And when we start them young, my granddaughter, John, she's only 7 years old, and she has done mind maps. I don't have it here, and I've also posted in my Facebook, and I got like thousands of views, and like 100 comments saying, "Wow, this is fantastic." And now she comes and asks, she said, "Grandpa, can you help me to do a mind map?" She's just going to start to go to school. Can you imagine that in her future that I don't have to worry about her doing well in school. I know, you can see it. So I would tell adults like to have an open mind and just see that, to let the child do it, let them experiment and learn and do it. It'll be very useful, extremely useful. If I
What?
may, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Share the boy Joel Lee who did well. Can I do that?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Give me one second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one question because I think that I've seen many kids who because I for myself I also run maths workshops, and last time when we were doing in the center with children coming down for classes, I've seen some kids they were just drawing on the book, and I'm okay with that. But sometimes before that, some parents told me that, oh, actually they are very restless and they can't pay attention in class, and some parents even say that I don't understand why he likes to draw in class. Why can't you just pay attention? Yeah. So I'm pretty stuck in how to even educate the parents, because I know that by drawing in class probably is his way of trying to stay attentive in class. Yeah. So what would you say to the parents, and to even encourage the parents to say, let's try and let him do the work and let's see what happens?
Yeah, that's right. Actually, not everybody is the same. I'm sure that even personalities, there's a DISC, for example. There's so many personality profiling tools out there. John, right? People tend to categorize, and just people are just different. And even we have the VAK, which stands for the visual, auditory, kinesthetic. People have different learning modalities or the different learning preferences. Some children, they like to see pictures. We call it a visual learners. Some are auditory. They have to listen. They in fact, for the auditory learners, if you're monotone, if you're monotonous, they will tune up. They say, I cannot go on listening. And they love music and all this kind of. And some kids just are very restless. They have to move. Yeah, these are the ones usually who are very physical. You see them like disturbing their neighbors. Hey, come on, why are you doing that? Pushing them or throwing a piece of paper in class. These kids. And these are the kids. You give them a pencil, and they can just doodle. They cannot sit still. They have to move. That's the way they are. There. So what we do is we let them have that freedom to do it. And actually, as you said, mind map is one way by which you can help them to doodle in a productive way, if I can say that. Yeah, because mind map is started with doodling. Tony Buzan, he himself was a person who liked to doodle, he says. And later on, he became a psychologist, and he started understanding about the brain. And he said, yeah, some people just have to do it. You cannot like, it's like tying someone down. It's like you're trying to tame a wild horse, but you cannot. It's not easy to do that. So the mind is like that. They're I don't want to say they're hyperactive, but they're just like kinesthetic line, they have to move. So as you rightly said, the kids, they like to draw. Let them, and they could help. In fact, I always go to the extent of telling these kids who are kinesthetic, I say, when you are trying to study, move. If you're at home, you walk, or in between. Are you familiar with the Pomodoro technique?
Oh no, please share with me.
Pomodoro technique means Pomodoro is an Italian word for tomato. It came because the guy who discovered it, he said, I use a tomato-shaped timer to discover how my brain works. It's about, let's say I have a two hours revision time I give myself to this chapter, for this chapter. But you see, if I were to sit down and study for 2 hours, my efficiency is going to go down.
Yep.
After a while, the brain stops absorbing, whether you like it or not. But for the kinesthetic kids, it's even worse. They are so hyperactive. It's like forcing them to sit down. They go like, I don't want to sit. So they say, sit down and don't move. They're not going to learn. So what this guy, I don't remember, you can go Google and find his name, the guy who got this Pomodoro technique. He said, break your 2 hours into 4 segments of 25 minutes, 25 minutes and 5 minutes. That means that you study for 25 minutes. It is work that's not just for studying, even if you're writing a book, you're doing research, anything that needs focus, don't go beyond 25 minutes. And that 5 minutes that you have, do something physical, maybe bounce a ball, put on some music and dance, go downstairs and cycle around, come back, whatever it is. 25 minutes of concentrated work, 5 minutes of something active, come back, another 25 minutes, 5 minutes break. He said you'll achieve much, much more than trying to do a marathon of 2 hours. It's not going to work. So these kids just need something physical. So one of the ways, as you said, they express themselves through doodling. So that's, it's coming out. It's not that they want to do that. Some people say, how dare you do that when I'm teaching? No. They're not defying you. They're not going against authority. It's not like, sometimes people like, they feel so, I would say, insecure. You don't feel insecure about it. That's the way they are. So I think accepting and guiding them and showing them, hey, there's your natural tendency, but why not channel it this way? So might be an ideal way. Yeah.
So what I heard from what you said is if it's a 2-hour lesson, split into 4 parts, 25 minutes of study time plus 5 minutes. And what I take away from here is even though the child may start to move around, but for the adult, probably can see as the child's different way of learning. Yeah, because for us, I think when parents send a child for a tuition lesson, let's say it's 2 hours, I think somehow there's some form of expectation that the child should sit down and learn. Yeah, but there are so many ways of the child having to learn besides sitting down, right? Yeah.
Actually, in fact, if you're teaching also, I'm an adult trainer as well. I train trainers. Tomorrow evening, I'm doing a session for trainers.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 2 hours from 7 to 9. Now, the point is this, I even tell these trainers, when you're training, make sure you do not teach one way for too long. You have to involve them. Of course, that doesn't mean that you must get up and move around. You can maybe get them to do a group discussion or something like that. But even telling a story can break, giving them 5 minutes, sharing a story, or getting them to answer you, or giving them a quiz. That is a break from what you have been doing. So we need to use this kind of thing. Otherwise, people cannot focus for 2 hours. You show them PowerPoint after PowerPoint, people go like, oh my God. You probably heard a term, death by PowerPoint. You're killing them with the PowerPoint.
Yeah, even though parents, yes, I have seen adults in the training room as well, when the trainer just move on from one PowerPoint to the next, even though we are trying our best to be the nicest and the most well-behaved child in the classroom, right? Our mind will just drift off.
Exactly. It's impossible. Let me share with you why. Do you want to know why?
Yes, please.
Okay, the part of your brain that is focusing is called the prefrontal cortex. It's just between your temples. So if you use those EEG machines, or you use this X-ray, what do you call it? It's this nowadays, you can actually the imaging machines. When you are actually focusing on your really concentrating, when you're working on maths, for example, maths is a very good example. You will see this part here lighting up. That means that part here is, and when it's lighting up, that means it's using energy. Your brain is using up energy. So if you are speaking, and I have to really work hard to read the PowerPoint or pay attention to you, I'm using up energy. So no, the brain is very smart. Our brain is very smart. You will just say, I'll better conserve energy. Meaning, it will stop listening. It will stop processing. So that's the reason why it works. It's been proven scientifically that this is the reason. It is nothing, because you by will, as you said, by I'm trying to. It's not a problem of not wanting to. You want to, but you can't, because your brain will not cooperate with you. That's the reason.
Yeah. So for our audience, because we actually serve parents with primary school going kids, and the children's age group is between 6 to 12 years old. Yeah. So from your experience, what are some of the different type of learning activities that parents can do at home? Because I think that a lot of times, a typical process of a parent teaching a child will be, okay, you open up your textbook, okay, you read, then you do the work, I will mark. If you are not sure, you ask me. If you don't ask me, I will scold you. So do share with us more and give us more tools to say sane.
Okay, yeah, sure. Actually, I think that problem is everywhere. I see that happening. Singapore, Malaysia. I think if I was in India, even in India, it was so bad.
Really?
Yeah. It was really bad. I was there to run a seminar in Singapore. Dad, a father, and mom brought. In India, they have usually one child family. I think Singapore, you also might have a few of those, right? One child,
I have
single
three
child.
girls. I have 3 girls.
I was a single and one single child. They
Okay.
brought him, and father said, "I want him to go to IIT, which stands for Indian Institute of Technology."
Wow. Sorry, I think you're breaking out. Yeah. Okay, while we are waiting for Mr. Jaya to come back, parents, if you have any questions, do feel free to put in the Facebook post. Yeah. So, Mr. Jaya, I think the reception there is quite poor.
Knowledge. Can you hear me now? A call came in. Sorry, that's why I think I was using my phone, right? Okay.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I actually lost you when the part that the father came to you and say, I want my child to go to
IIT.
some IIT, which I'm sure is a privilege. It's like a top school, I suppose.
In Institute of Technology, people. Google CEO is from IIT.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and all the, I think all the Microsoft director, or is chairman or something from IIT. IIT produces the best brains in the world. Okay, that goes. Of course, US will always look for IIT, but if you go to IIT, your future is is guaranteed. Okay, so anyway, this father came in and he was telling and scolding the boy in front of me. He said, "I'm trying to make him to go to IIT." So, and they're just pressuring him. And I can see, I was just wondering what would happen in his home, the pressure the boy would be going on. So I told, and I said, "Can I talk to your boy?" The father kept saying, I said, "Yeah, can I talk to him privately?" Oh,
That's the hard part, right? For the father to take in.
Then I sat down with the boy. I said, "Do you really want to go to IIT?" I said, "Well, my father wants me to." I said, "What about you?" "Well, I'm so afraid that if I don't meet what my father is going to feel." So of course I told him, I say, "I can understand where you are, but do your best. I'll talk to your dad as well." So I spoke to the dad. I said, sometimes when we pressure too much, do you know what happens when we put pressure or not? The child begins to perform badly. So I always tell all parents this, nurture them. Of course, I said punishment may not work sometimes, nurture them, encourage them, motivate them, and tell them what a good education will help them in their lives for, and guide them. I mean, sit down with them and learn. They say, "You do it." It's much better to say, "Let's do it together." Okay, when you sit down and say, "Hey, come," don't say, "If you don't understand, ask me." Sit down and say, "Hey, you know what? This is what I did with my school days. This lesson was very tough for me. You know what the child said? "Really, Alpa? Huh? Yeah. But you know what I did? You know how I learned or not?" And the child will listen to you, but you don't say, "You better learn, or otherwise, you're going to get a K." So, and another thing is, you look for ways to make them lifelong learners and make them enjoy learning. Let me share one idea with you. Recently when we were doing an exhibition, because our company used to take part in exhibitions, and the one dad, he came to me and he said, "My boy who's in year 5, and he said he hates maths." I said, really? So yeah, he hates maths. I said, okay, I tell you, Chinese boy actually. I said, Chinese, usually I said, oh, no, I thought they all like maths.
That's not true. That's not
I,
true.
I know, but I still remember the father's news. Mr. Simon, if you don't mind, can you just go around the exhibition for 20 minutes? Leave your boy with him. He'll be safe with me. Don't worry. So he said, sure. He left the boy and he went around. And I sat down with the boy. I said, look, why is it I don't like maths? He said, well, I don't know. I never understand maths. So you know what I did? I shared with him some shortcuts in mathematics.
Mhm.
Like how to multiply by 5 using shortcuts. And
Mm.
how to use fingers for multiplications. Sometimes there's some things, some
Yep.
simple tricks. So by the time the father came, so I gave some maths questions to the father and also to the boy, same questions. So for the father, I said, you can use the calculator. I said the boy will do it mentally. The father's like, really? See ya. So I said, now go. The boy finished all the questions faster than the father was doing on the calculator. The father was like shocked and he said, hey, how was that? So I asked the boy, I said, hey, how is maths now? Of course, he was overexcited. Okay. The boy who said, I hate maths, suddenly become okay. So you know what? Sometimes it's how we nurture them. We show them some other ways of doing it. The father said, but my son cannot use this method in school. I said, doesn't matter. At least he now likes maths more than before. Why? Because the father was probably pressuring, you better pass your maths. You better get 70. I want you to get A. So become under stress, they don't do well. Just like us, right? Under stress, we make wrong decisions, don't we? So the brain works that way. So supporting, I like your tagline is supporting busy parents. So support your child. When we support, you never know that it's like we can make a difference as a parent. I believe that. Sometimes we just push it to the child, and sometimes the child could be lost. And they feel, hey, nobody understands me. My teacher doesn't understand me. My father doesn't understand. My mommy doesn't understand me, and make it worse, right? So I feel that supporting can be helpful, definitely.
It sounds to me that I think as a parents, we want to collaborate rather than what's that word, to stress a child like, okay, you have to do it alone. Yeah, but if let's say the parents can build up a collaborative and environment at home between the mom or the dad with the child, is actually a more meaningful and probably more fun journey to be on.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So, okay, so I think I shared many tips about how to, from memory techniques to mind mappings, and also I love the parenting tips that you have shared. Yeah, so out of so many tips, so what would be the most important advice in your opinion for parents who start off to get their child to start to use mind map in their studies, be it science, math, mother tongue, or English?
Okay, I would say that there's so many resources online. Get those. Give me a minute.
So parents, now we are into the last part of Mr. Jaya's sharing. And if you have just joined us, not to worry, you can always watch a replay. And of course, Mr. Jaya will be here until 8:30. And if you have any question that you want to ask pertaining to how to support your child, because you are someone who still choose to support your child at home, do post in the comment box right now so that Mr. Jaya can take on your question.
I would say, okay, answer your question, John. Is if people want to get their children started on mind maps, is get them some simple books on mind maps and show them how a mind map can actually be done by using just simple colors. Of course, the younger they start, the better it is, because when sometimes a child becomes like, once they are 15 or 16, they have the mind of their own. That's why it's easier for us to mold somebody who's like children who are 9, 10 years old, or even before that. So start them young if possible. Show them how a mind map can actually simplify even a complicated thing. You see, so when you can show them that, and there's so many YouTube videos on this. Just search on YouTube nowadays. and show them like, how a lesson can be broken down. And children will feel, once they feel, hey, this is really cool. What I thought was so difficult is so simple. That's it. Once they get hooked, it's very easy for us. Like I told you, the boy Jolie who came to my session, and it's like, can I share his video for a
Oh
minute?
yes, please go ahead. Yeah. So Mr. Jay is getting the video up. My personal take is parents. I'm sure that some of you are very hands-on parents who chose to do it with your kid, like you do it with your kid sitting next to them, doing your own mind map while your kid does his. Versus other types of parents who may be very busy but still want to do it, but you just show the video to the child. That one is a bit not effective. So I still advise that if you want your child to like to do mind map, first of all, you may want to do it with your child. So the keyword is with. Yeah.
Okay, just 1 minute. Let me see
Yeah.
if I can share. Okay, I'll have to share the sound as well, right? Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah. So just now when you share, right, you click on like share sound as well.
Yeah. I think you should be able to watch.
Thanks, Joel.
Is the sound
Yes, I can hear it.
audible? Can, okay.
19 years old this year, and I'm just a brief introduction, right? I'm studying at IIT College. I'm doing electrical and electronic engineering. Next year, I'm going to University of New South Wales in Australia to do telecommunications. And I just got my Astro scholarship. So yep, this is it. I'm gonna get my Astro scholarship, and I'm just gonna go over to study for free. All right. I mentioned that this thing actually reduced my revision time by 50 to 70%. That was something like more than a month ago. I think now I practically use only 20%. Means like I actually save 80%. So I just do it once. I just look through my notes, and that's it. Just now we learned the technique
I'm
of
going to keep some of this.
let's say 3 hours a day. I spend something like, the greatest thing that this program has benefited me is my time. Now, instead of spending, let's say 3 hours a day, I spend something like 20 minutes or 15 minutes a day revision, and I practically just remember everything I need to remember. Further reduces the time that I need to study, and yeah, that's what I benefited from this. In IIT College, I'm the #1 student now for my engineering course.
Okay, just want to share that
The part that he has learned the mind mapping plus other memory techniques from your course.
that's right. This is after a few months after he attended my course, and he came back to say thank you to me. Actually, he sent me an email. He said, I want to thank you. He said, what can I do for you? I said, you don't need to do anything for me. I'm so happy. He said, tell me anything. I said, look, I'm having a session today with parents. Would you want to share? He came and shared his experience.
Oh, so he appeared live. Everything he appeared.
He came and he shared with my parents.
Wow, yeah. So if Singapore parents wants to get to know more about your work, how can they get in touch with you?
Oh, okay. Let me just put in the chat box my number 6019 66934.
But you can just put in chat box and then I can just put.
This is
they can
my
WhatsApp you. They can WhatsApp you, right?
They can, and I also see if I can give them a form, Google form where they can actually. Give me a minute. Let me just share the link with them. Yeah. So any parents, if you're asking any questions, I'm ready to take them.
Okay, give me a minute while I add it into the. Okay, if the form is not ready yet, you can send to me later.
Oh, okay. Can.
I can always add that in later. Yeah.
Okay, not a problem.
Because just now I wanted to go to your website. I think I'm not sure what happened. It can't load on my site. Yeah, so you may
really?
want to check on that later. Never mind,
Okay.
it's okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Mr. Jay, okay. We have come to the end of the sharing, and thanks so much for being here. Yeah, and I think for all my Facebook lives with my guests, I always have one last very important question. Yeah, that I ask all my guests. Okay, can I? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You know that Singapore kids, all of us have to who are in Singapore school receiving the education system have to take the PSLE at 12 years old, right? Yeah. So okay, so 12 years old is actually a very big thing, like a big event for our 12-year-old kids. Yeah. Okay, so may I invite you to go back to the time when you were 12?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Then as you're going down the memory lane and then you see the 12-year-old you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So and then he's so close to you that you can even touch him and he's smiling at you. What will you tell him?
Very interesting you asked that question, because that was a turning point in my life, because 12-year-old in school was a very traumatic time for me. Why traumatic? Because I still remember my school teacher, his name was Mr. Ui. He was my history teacher and my discipline master. He actually called me a mumbling idiot. And that changed the direction of my life, because it broke my confidence, it broke my self-esteem, it made me lose whatever sense of direction I had in my life. And I thought I was going to be a washout for the next 6-7 years. It was like that until in Form 6 in college, that I turned my life back, and I had to reverse everything back. So if I could go back to that point in my time when and that happened, because I felt I was a nobody at the time. In fact, I tell the story. I said, I wish the floor will open and close and kill me at that point in time, because I felt so embarrassed. If I could go back, I would want to say, whatever happens to you because of somebody, whatever somebody tells you is their opinion. So you don't have to feel that you are no good. Today, a lot of people come to me and they say, how come you're so good? How come you're so knowledgeable? How come you're so smart? How can I speak so well? I say, you didn't see me 30 or 40 years ago. You would have probably shunned from me. You say, oh, this fella. But today, you come to me and you ask me, how can I speak so? And you pay me money to speak. I say, how nice is that? But that maybe that thing had to happen for me to turn around. But if at that point someone had come and say, hey, don't worry, things will be okay, you'll be all right. So I always tell a child, whatever happens, whatever somebody tells you is just their opinion. And if something negative happens, it is not the end of life. You're only 12. You have a long way to go. You can do anything in life as long as you set your mind and you go for it. As I say, the world is your oyster. Go out and explore and become the best person that you can be. That's what I would probably have told myself. And I wish somebody had told me that at the time. But I'm very fortunate. When I was in college, I found a book in my college library that changed my life. It's called See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar.
Wow. That's a good book.
It is, yeah. That really changed the whole trajectory of my life. And I'm so fortunate in that sense. Yeah.
Yes.
So thanks for the question.
Yeah, great. Thanks so much for sharing. Yeah, because I think I can relate to that. Later, I can share with you what happened to me and what my teachers told me. Yeah, he looked out on me then as well. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Jaya, thanks so much for being here, and I really appreciate all the things that you have shared. And while you are on a holiday.
Yes, I have here on a holiday. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, I know that you took out time from your family, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, yeah.
No
Okay,
worries. Yeah.
so parents, if you have any question, just drop a WhatsApp to Mr. Jaya. The number is in the comment box, or you can fill in the form, and the URL is in the comments box as well. Okay, so Mr. Jaya, I will end the session now. Don't go off yet. Yeah, we'll do a catch up after this.
Sure. Thanks, John. Thanks everybody for joining in.
Okay, parents, thanks for being here, and then I will see you in the next Zoom or Facebook Live. Okay, take care. Okay, hold on.